Okay, we know something happened that changed humanity all across the world. But what happened? What caused all of this mud or dirt to cover up buildings, bury cities, that just changed the landscape? Now, as I was thinking about it, this is where I want to start. Look at this photo here of Africa. What caused all of this? See, we just think it's just the desert, it's just the way things are. But what if it's not just the way things are? What if something happened that caused this, not just here, but throughout all the world? Something changed everything, and people had to bury themselves out of it. But what happened? Now let me go to Google Earth. Now, it looks like it starts here in this part of China where this arrow is, right? And look, it starts and it comes down out of China, the east, and it just comes down through Saudi Arabia, Iran. It comes down through Egypt. You see, it comes down. It started up here in China and it comes down. It comes down. Something comes down. And it just goes straight this way. Okay, like a storm. Something happened that just put dirt everywhere. But what happened? Now, it's not a global flood. So this is not the flood of Noah we're talking about. This is something a lot more recent than the flood of Noah. Now I went to Matthew chapter 24, verse 27, and this verse always stood out to me as something that we need to understand. For years, this bugged me. Why would he say, whereas the lightning cometh out of the east? Why would he say that? It's like a coordinates, like his return to the earth is going to come over China first. He's going to come over China. He's coming from this direction. It's like he's telling us the direction in which he will travel in, so we're not deceived by something else. And so he says, and shineth even unto the west. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So if we're going back here to Google, and we're looking at this path that starts up here in China, the east, and it comes through the west, it comes through the Middle East, it goes through Egypt, Libya, Morocco, all the way out into the west of Africa, and possibly over into the US. Did he give us a coordinates of his return? For as the lightning cometh out of the east. This is coming out of the east. This destruction is coming out of the east. And this is something else that the brothers are pointing out. And I'm going to point it out too, because I think it all connects. If we go down here, to verse 34, Matthew 24:34. He tells us something that we're just not paying attention to. He says, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. So he's saying that the people that were alive when he was alive would see his return. As the lightning coming out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Again, let me go back here to Google. As this destruction here did in fact come out of the east. I mean, this has nothing to do with the equator. This has nothing to do with the sun or temperatures, because the land above it is not as touched as this land. Not even the land below it is touched like this land. What happened here? What moved from the east and came down and caused all of this destruction? Now let's take a closer look to the west coast of Africa, in the Sahara. Look at how much mud. Like, look at this city here. I think you pronounce this Chengeti. All right, in the Sahara. This whole city was buried underneath this sand. This sand is not supposed to be here. Something caused this to happen, and we're going to find out what happened. Okay? The whole town, this whole city or town, as you can see, was submerged in the Sahara Desert. The whole freaking thing. Look at it. They had to dig all of this out. The whole entire thing. See it here? Now let's look at the eye of the Sahara. Here's the photo I'm looking for. But just look at how the current of whatever caused this dirt to shift and to cover up all of these towns and cities and all of these things. Look at the dirt. Look at the way that this is going. This flows out. This flows through this area and began to cover it up. See? And we're going to find out what caused this. We're going to find out the return of Christ caused this. All right, just to cut to the chase. The return of Christ shifted everything. And it buried a lot of things, a lot of people got buried. All right, so this is the coast here. Look at the mud. See how it's all running off here? It's coming down here. It's going down into the sea. What caused this? So it says, again, let me read it. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west. He's telling us the path of his coming. And he came to bring destruction. Right? He didn't come to set peace on this earth. Okay? Let's prove that. Let me see if I can type that up and we can get it real quick. I'm gonna type in peace. Should have typed in, and I'm gonna put set. Let's see what pulls up. See, Christ didn't come to set peace on earth. Let's see what he came to put on the earth. So when you hear during the Christmas holiday times that Christ came to set peace on the earth, he did not. He came to set a fire upon the earth. So let's just get that and prove that real quick. She's not going to give it to me. So let's just type in division. All right, because Christ did not come to set peace on the earth. And those of us that really believe in him, we understand that. Right? He says here, suppose ye, see right here in Luke chapter 12, verse 51, he says, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, no, but rather division. You see, this is the real Christ. Right? Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth. I tell you, nay. I tell you, no. I have not come to give peace on earth, but rather division. Right? Christ came to separate people. He didn't come to bring people together. He came to separate people. And this is a part of their doctrine that they hide from you, from the simple-minded, those that need to be given a star and a brownie every day up on the chalkboard. All right, so he says, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth. I tell you, nay. I tell you, no, but rather division. So Christ saying he was not sent down here to create peace, right? He says from henceforth, meaning his appearance at this time, there shall be 5 in one house divided, and 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. You see, he's going to say here again, and he said also to the people, when ye see a cloud arise out of the west, straightway ye say, there cometh a shower, and so it is. And when ye see the south wind blow, ye say, there will be heat, and it cometh to pass. You see, ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky and of the earth, but how is it that ye do not know, that you do not discern this time? You see, how is it that you couldn't discern any of these things? Just like this. See, it makes no sense. You see, above, below the territory is this devastation. Above and below. In the middle is this devastation, and this has nothing to do with the equator, because the equator is way down here. Okay? The equator is way down here. It is not up here. Okay, so this has nothing to do with the equator.
Blue! What the fuck?
Yo, the sky is fucking blue!
I'm over here!
And then it turned off!
Nope!
Yo!
I got that on camera! I got that on
Yo!
camera! I got that on camera!
Worst thing was, feds just went that way.
Blue! What the fuck?
Yo, the sky is fucking blue!
I'm over here!
And then it turned off!
Nope!
Yo!
I got that on camera! I got that on camera!
Yo!
I got that on camera!
Worst thing was, feds just went that way.
Hey Monarchs, things are about to get deep, a little rocky, but we're going to get through this. I'm going to start in the book of Helaman. chapter 14. And we're going to read what he says about the birth of Christ and the lights in heaven when he was born. And then we're going to connect that with some other scriptures that's going to tell us when Christ was actually born now. See, now we have documentation when Christ was born. And it wasn't December 25th. Okay. Then we're going to find out what happened to the world, okay, at that time. And then when Christ came back after his resurrection and what happened to the world. So now let's go and start in Helaman and put the pieces together when Christ was born, because it's been sitting right in front of our eyes this whole entire time. Okay, so this is Helaman chapter 14. And I'm going to start at verse 1 and just read down until we can begin to connect the dots as the Spirit leads us to the truth of the matter. Okay, Helaman chapter 14 in the Book of Mormons. And it says, and now it came to pass that Samuel the Lamanite did prophesy a great many more things which cannot be written. And behold, he said unto them, behold, I give unto you a sign, for 5 years more cometh, and behold, then cometh the Son of God to redeem all those who shall believe on his name. And behold, this will I give unto you for a sign at the time of his coming. For behold, there shall be great lights in heaven, insomuch that in the night before he cometh, there shall be no darkness, insomuch that it shall appear unto man as if it was day. Remember that. All right, now listen, because things are going to get deep here. All right, and it says, therefore, there shall be one day and a night and a day, as if it were one day, and there were no night. And this shall be unto you for a sign. For ye shall know of the rising of the sun, and also of its setting. Therefore, they shall know of a surety that there shall be 2 days and a night. Nevertheless, the night shall not be darkened, and it shall be the night before he is born. And behold, there shall a new star arise, such an one as ye never beheld. And this also shall be a sign unto you. And behold, this is not all. There shall be many signs and wonders in heaven. And it shall come to pass that ye shall be amazed and wonder, insomuch that ye shall fall to the earth. All right, now let's go back and let's piggyback. All right, now it says here, for ye shall know the rising of the sun and of its setting. If we go to Genesis, and we start where God says, and let there be light, and there was light. If we understand that this light is a y.s.a, this light is the light of life. That animation that life came, and that this light, that this darkness are all spiritual. This is spiritual darkness, and this is the spiritual light. All right. And when they were created, it was the first day. But let's jump down to verse 14. All right. When God says, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let the lights be, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. But when did he do this? And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. All right, so God saw that it is good to separate us with the light from those that are in the darkness. That is good. But when did this happen? Well, the physical sun was created on the fourth day. Remember that, on the fourth day of creation did the physical sun that comes over your head every day and the moon were created. Okay? Now remember that. So Christ, like I've been preaching, Christ was born on the first day of creation. Remember that. He was born on the very first day of creation, which happens to be the month of Nisan, the month that contains the Passover. Okay? So this light is Christ, and he was born on the first day. Remember that. Now listen, and it says, and behold, there shall a new star arise. And let me go here to Matthew chapter 2. When King Herod asked the fellas about this star. And this is Matthew chapter 2, and I start at verse 1. And it says, now Ahawashah was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king. Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. Now remember, these wise men are Israelites. They are not from China or anywhere else. They are Israelites. Watch my other videos on that. And saying, where is he born king of the Jews? Where is he that is born king of black people? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. Okay? And when Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all of Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. Remember that. This is why the Heavenly Father said in Jeremiah chapter 10, learn not the ways of the heathen, for the heathen are dismayed at the sign of heaven, the signs of heaven. Okay, let me pull that up. So these people were afraid that Christ was going to be born. So here in both accounts, we have the new star. We have them admitting in the King James that there is a new star. Okay. Let me go to Jeremiah. Chapter 10. And I want to read this again because I think it's important. I keep preaching Jeremiah chapter 10 over and over and over again until you and your family and everybody you know begins to accept the truth. And what is that truth? That Christ was not the one born on December 25th. And I'm going to prove it to you. When he was born, he was created on the first day of creation. And if he was created on the first day of creation, when the Heavenly Father said, "Let there be light," and there was light, then that means he was born spiritually on the first day of creation in the first month of creation. All right, so let me read this again. All right, and it says, "Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven." All right, so one of those signs of heaven is Satan getting cast out. Okay. But the other sign is Christ being born. Because the reason why Satan was cast out of heaven is because Christ was being born. You see, right here, my computer can't keep up with me. Forget that. Okay, so right here in Genesis chapter 1, on this first day is Revelations chapter 12. Okay, when God said, "Let there be light, let Christ be born, let his son come about," and he came, right? That's why it says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? The Most High was saying, bringing his son forth, and Lucifer was standing there waiting to kill that light. He wanted to turn the lights out on him. Okay. But Yahweh saw the light that it was good. All right. And he separated his son from Satan. All right. He protected his son from Satan. So all of that was happening when Michael and the angels fought. This is when they were doing it. This is what this is all about. And this was on the first day of creation. Our creation. Okay? Our creation. Our creation begins with Christ, the light of life. Without him, we have no life. Okay? So Jeremiah chapter 10, when the Heavenly Father says, "Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." Why? Why? Because of what happened. Okay? Now we're going to find out a little bit more about what happened. All right? So let me read this again. "Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the sign of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the custom of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. They deck it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not." Now let's pay attention. Let's go back here. At any time when Herod realizes that Christ is being born, are they Do they mention anything about Christmas trees? Nope. What about gifts and presents? No. What about anything that has to do with Christmas? No. Why? Because it has nothing to do with that at all. Okay, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to say the gifts that was given to Christ was recognition of him being King Solomon. Frankincense and myrrh. They are the things that belong to King Solomon. Okay, but that's for another video. All right, now let's go back here. All right, so now we know that according to Genesis, that the light, which is Christ, was created on the first day of creation inside the first month of creation. Okay? And that a new star indeed hid in the heavens. All right, now let's go to 3 Nephi chapter 8, and I'll read this real quick because this is going to tell us when Christ was born. And it says, and it came to pass in the 34th year, in the first month, on the 4th day of the month, there arose a great storm. See, everything is repeating. So in Genesis, on the 4th day, the physical sun was created. Okay. And here it is again on the 4th day when the physical sun was created, which means that this has to happen after Christ was born as the light of life. And it says, and it came to pass in the 34th year, in the first month, the month of Nisan, on the 4th day of the month, there arose a great storm, such as one as never had been known in all the land. And there was also a great and terrible tempest, and there was terrible thunder, insomuch that it did shake the whole earth, as if it was about to divide asunder. Okay. And there were exceedingly sharp lightnings, such as never had been known in all the land. Okay. So now, why am I pointing this out? Because of this. This happened in the first month. When did the Israelites make their exodus? During the first month. Okay, that's how we get the Passover. It falls in the first month of God's year, not Satan's calendar. See, the foolish and the Antichrist, they are the ones that are going to tell you that New Year's is January 1st, but not according to anybody who is following behind the God of heaven and earth. He decided when the new year began. And how did it begin? With the birth of his son. God saw the light, right? He said, let there be light. There was light. He divided that light from darkness, and God called the light day and the darkness night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So if the Passover falls in the first month of God's calendar, then what does anybody believing in God or his son or his Holy Spirit celebrating the New Year's in the middle of dead of winter? Didn't God say that the physical sun and the physical moon were for signs and for seasons, right? Is the season of winter over? January 1st? Think about that. Y'all just said that Christ was born in the dead of winter. Winter represents death. All right. And you say that Christ was born in death. And we say he was not. He was born in the spring when life is returned to the earth again. Doesn't that make sense? Let me go back down. All right, Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, and to divide the day from the night. And let them be for what? Signs and for seasons. So how in the world can Christ be born, the thing that gives us life, that brings forth life, in the dead of winter? At the middle of the season, at the beginning of winter, right? That's not possible, because he was not born in the wintertime. Because why? Because the sun and the moon were just created. So this is what? Spring. This is spring. And so that's why here they're telling you, and it came to pass in the 34th year, in the first month, on the 4th day, right? That this storm, this thing that began to destroy the world, began to happen. And now let me go here. Let's go to Joel chapter 2. Verse 23, and what does it say? What does the prophet Joel tell us when we should be glad and rejoice in Yahweh our God? He said, be glad, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in Yahweh your Elohim, for he has given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. That's when he's going to pour his spirit out upon us. The spring is the season to refresh, to bring forth life. Christmas comes at a time of death, coldness, darkness. And so his son was not born in the dead of winter. He was born on the first day of the first month. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30. And it says here, all right, now, remember, Helaman said, he said, therefore shall be one day and a night and a day as if it were one day. And there were no night. And this shall be unto you for a sign. Okay. So if we go to Isaiah chapter 30, verse 26, and it says, moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun. Okay, so the moon is going to shine as bright as the sun, giving us what Helaman said, one day and a night and a day. And the light of the sun shall be as sevenfold, as the light of 7 days. All right, they talking about global warming. Well, this is saying that the sun is going to be sevenfold. It's going to be 7 times hotter on this earth. So that's 700 and something degrees. But again, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, as the light of 7 days, in the day that Yahweh bindeth up the breach of his people, and healeth the stroke of their wound. So that all connects. Okay, so let's go to Helaman. And let's look at the sign of Christ's death. Right, in Helaman chapter 14 says, "But behold, as I said unto you concerning another sign, a sign of his death, behold, in that day that he shall suffer death, the sun shall be darkened, and refuse to give his light unto you, and also the moon and the stars. And there shall be no light upon the face of this land, even from the time that he shall suffer death for the space of 3 days, to the time that he shall rise again from the dead. Yea, at the time that he shall yield up the ghost, there shall be thunderings and lightnings for the space of many hours, and the earth shall shake and tremble, and the rocks which are upon the face of this earth, which are beneath, which are both above the earth and beneath, which ye know at this time are solid, or the more part of it is one solid mass, shall be broken up. Yea, they shall be rent in two, and shall ever after be found in seams and in cracks, and in broken fragments upon the face of the whole earth. So whatever happened did not only happen in Israel, but it happened all across the world. Okay? And behold, there shall be great tempest, and there shall be many mountains laid low, like unto a valley. And there shall be many places which are now called valleys, which shall become mountains, whose height is great. And many highways shall be broken up, and many cities shall become desolate. And many graves shall be open, and shall yield up many of their dead, and many saints shall appear unto many. And behold, thus has the angel spoken unto me, for he said unto me that there should be thunderings and lightnings for a space of many hours. And he said unto me that while the thunder and the lightning lasted, and the tempest, that these things should be, and that darkness should cover the face of the whole earth for the space of 3 days. And the angel said unto me, that many shall see greater things than these, to the intent that they might believe that these signs and these wonders should come to pass upon all the face of the land, to the intent that there should be no cause for unbelief among the children of men. And now let's go to the third book of Nephi, chapter 8. And I'm going to start in verse 10. And it says, and the earth was carried up upon the city of Moroni, that in the place of the city there became a great mountain. Okay, let me read above that. This is what I wanted. And the city of Moroni did sink into the depths of the sea, and the inhabitants thereof were drowned. And the earth was carried up upon the city of Moroni, that in the place of the city there became a great mountain. And there was a great and terrible destruction in the land southward. But behold, there was more great and terrible destruction in the land northward. For behold, the whole face of the land was changed. Okay, so in other words, what you see above the sea now was below the sea. What was below the sea is now above the sea, and it's the land in which we are all now living on. Never forget that. And so the land was changed because of the tempest and the whirlwinds. All right, so those gigantic hurricanes and those gigantic tornadoes just began to rip up and change everything. Okay. And it says, and the thunderings and the thundering and the lightning and the exceedingly great quakes of the whole earth. And the highways were broken up, and the level roads were spoiled, and many smooth places became rough. And many great and notable cities sunk, and many were burned, and many were shaken till the buildings thereof had fallen to the earth, and the inhabitants thereof were slain. And the places were left desolate. And this is what we just saw in Turkey, okay? When they had that city and the buildings all just collapsed when that earthquake happened and killed all those people in Turkey. All right, and it says, and there were more cities which remained, but the damage thereof was exceedingly great. But the damage thereof was exceedingly great, and there were many in them who were slain. And there were some who were carried away in the whirlwind, and whither they went no man knoweth, save they know that they were carried away. And this is the whole point here, in verse 17. And thus the face of the whole earth became deformed. All right, the whole face of the earth changed. The way that the earth that we're living on is a result of Christ's death and what happened when he died. When he died, so much energy came off of him that the whole earth, the sky, the sea, the earth, everything went out of whack and began to destroy everything because this man died. Okay, and this is the whole point. And thus the face of the whole earth became deformed. Why? Because of the tempests and the thunderings and the lightnings and the quaking of the earth. And behold, the rocks were rent in twine, or in two. They were broken up upon the face of the whole earth, in so much that they were found broken. They were found in broken fragments and in seams and in cracks upon the face of the land. Okay? Let me read this last part here, and it says, and it came to pass that when the thunderings and the lightnings and the storms and the tempests and the quakings of the earth did cease, for behold, they did last for about the space of 3 hours. All right, so in 3 hours, the entire face of the earth was changed because Christ died. They killed him. Okay? And so when they killed him, that energy was released. When he gave up the ghost, that energy was released. Okay? It short-circuited the sun. It short-circuited the moon. It short-circuited the weather. It short-circuited the sea. It short-circuited the tectonic plates that we live on. That everything began to overthrow its creation, so to say. And so therefore, when Christ died, he changed, he deformed. All right, when he released that spirit, it deformed the entire earth. And maybe this is why NASA will never ever show you the true image of this planet, because it is now deformed. It's hideous compared to the way it was. So now we're living on a hideous planet. Okay, now let's go back to here when it talked about some of these cities sinking into the sea. All right, let's start there. Let's start with the cities that sunk into the sea. Okay, so let's take a look at a few cities that sunk underneath the sea. And the first one is here. I believe you pronounced this Nagami Jima. All right. And this is in Japan. And this city fell underneath the waters. Okay. Now remember, in Daniel said that Esau would begin to change times. And so this makes sense why they would come out with carbon dating and say that this happened at that time, that happened at this time. But I think that the truth of the matter is that a lot of this devastation that we have seen around the world was a result of them killing Christ. And the retaliation for killing Christ was the devastation and the reshaping of the world. So these cities were actually cast down. And I don't think that they really wanted us to realize that. So let's read what it says here about this city. Because if they link this to the King James, where most people actually read about these events, the light would go off and they would have fear of Christ's power. And yet the people don't really have fear of Christ's power and what his power is really coming to do. Remember, this man is not coming to set peace on earth. Okay, he's coming for destruction. Okay, now look at this picture here. This whole entire complex, this whole entire city ended up underneath the water, just like Hellerman said. And it says, this is Japan's Atlantis. Steeped in mystery and controversy, off the coast of whatever this island is, there lies strangely even shapes that some scientists believe can only be man-made and point to an ancient civilization submerged some 10,000 years ago. So they putting this off long before Christ even came. But I think it happened when he came, just like Hellerman said. And it says a pyramid shaped structure, and arch staircases and other shapes complete with markings that could be ancient script, have reportedly been identified, all hinting to a lost underwater civilization. Okay, now let's look at some of the pictures of this complex here so that you can understand. Okay, so these are the steps. Look how big this place is. Look at the diver here. Okay, you see the diver in this picture? You see, look at the steps. Okay, so this whole thing sank. All right, here's the pyramid that they were referencing. Okay, so Christ knocked all of this stuff down and casted his ghost, his spirit, knocked all of this down. All right, this is what they think this complex looked like. Look how big this is. Okay, so the whole thing sank down into the sea. And they're going to keep referring to these places as Atlantis. Okay. And so we need to redefine what Atlantis means. I think Atlantis is any of these cities which sank after the crucifixion of Christ. See the divers there? All right, so this is some of the writings that they found. You see right there in the middle, the cross. Okay. So this was some of the ancient writings of the Japanese. I'll show one more picture. I mean, look at that. The whole entire city sank underneath the sea. Let me go back to the other picture there. And they're showing you a comparison of what it looked like above the land and now below the sea. All right, now let's go get another one, which is Lion City. All right, and this is from China. Shenzhen, China. Okay, however you pronounce this lake, the Lake of 1,000 Islands, was created when the valley was flooded in 1959. Some 3,000 people were relocated, and the submerged city of Lion City was forgotten about until 2001. Okay, now it says when the government-led expedition had a look at what was submerged and came across a time capsule of imperial China was with magnificent embroideredly decorative buildings dating to the 1300s, still perfectly preserved in the underwater city. Okay, so again, I believe that this, let's see if we can see it, take a picture of the Lion City. Let's see if we can find pictures of the Lion City. Let's see what pops up. Look at that. It says China's Atlantis of the East. Look at this. Look at what the Holy Ghost cast down. You see, look at this, man. This is Lion City. So I think that these people feared Christ in such a way that they wasn't going to tell us that any of this stuff was cast down because he gave up the ghost, because they killed him. I mean, look at the structures here. Look at the things in which they found. Right, look at that lion there. Let's take a picture of this. China's Atlantis. Look how big this place was. The whole thing was cast down into the sea. And it says the city is under 30 meters of water. It was built on an incline, right? So they gave out. Look at this. Look at what they found underneath this place. It says Lost Chinese City underwater. And take a look at this. The mystery behind China's lost underwater city. Do y'all see what's there? You see that? The golden calf there? You see? Wow. Wow. Let's see if we can take a better look at that. Look at that. It's the same devil all over the world. What devil is that? Just so y'all can understand, okay? Bear with my computer here. Because, I mean, this is crazy. Check it out. Let's look at two things. Let's look at the golden calf. Let's look at the golden calf images. And what do they have here? Look on the head of this golden calf. You see, it's the same in this depiction. See the circle on top? But where did they get that from? Let's go to, I think this is how you, I think this is how you spell it. You see that? Look at that. Hathor. Right? One of the Egyptian gods. Here in the city of Lion City in China, they were worshiping Thor. Just like our ancestors did during the Exodus when we left Egypt. All right, who is Hathor? Okay, Hathor, house of horse, was a major goddess in ancient Egypt. Was a major goddess in ancient Egypt religion who played a wide variety of roles as a sky deity. She was the mother or consort of the sky god Horus and the sun god Ra. Both of them were connected with kinship, and thus she was the symbolic mother of their earthly representatives, the pharaohs. So what is this doing in China? In Lion City? All right, so this is all worship of, okay? This is all worship of Satan right here. All right, let's go to another one. Bear with this computer. All right, so the next one is Danis, Alexandria in Egypt. Let's see what it says here about this city that was cast down. All right, and it says, long lost Alexandria has just as many legends and mysteries spun around it as Atlantis. All right, so they were covering this whole thing up this whole time, but this one is real. Okay, so they saying that Atlantis is myth, but they saying what happened here in Donis in Alexandria in Egypt is real. It had been found, and there are 2 ancient underwater cities for the price of one. Alexandria's remains lie a few feet off the coast, while Donis rests a little further off today's Alexandria. Both are spectacularly well preserved, considering the ruins are more than 2,000 years old. Again, they know that all of this surrounded Christ when they killed him. All of these cities, all of these, because it said that he showed. Let me get that scripture. Let me pause this for a second, because now it just hit me in the spirit that he showed openly how he overcame these powers and principalities. And this is how he did it, by casting these cities down. All right, so let's look at Colossians chapter 2, verse 14 and 15, which says, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross. And having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly. That's what this is. These cities, when he gave up the ghost, these cities came down. He tore up the roads. He deformed the whole face of the earth. And why wouldn't these cities get cast down doing this? You see, these people are all worshiping one thing. There is no such thing as religions. There's no Buddhism. There is no Christianity. There's none of that. There's just being an Israelite, and then there's everybody else that have a form of righteousness that is actually following behind Satan. That's all that's going on. And so when he gave up the ghost, he tore down all these places. Right? The Holy Ghost came and tore down all these places. It destroyed buildings. It tore up roads. It tore down mountains. It raised up valleys. I mean, how much more do they need to show us openly? They didn't hide what they did. Right? When Christ gave up the ghost, he spoiled the principalities and powers in high places. Right? He took on those rulers of darkness and he kicked their behinds. He made an open show of his power when he died on the cross. So let me look at this again. Lion City, Hathor, right there. All right, Hathor. Again, you see, right there, Hathor. And who is she? She was a major goddess in ancient Egypt religion who played a wide variety of roles as a sky deity. She was the mother or consort of the sky god Horus and the sun god Ra, both of whom were connected with kinship, and thus she was the symbolic mother, their earthly representatives, the pharaohs. So all the pharaohs are representatives of Lucifer. Every last pharaoh. All right, and it says, and she was one of several goddesses. Remember in the writings of King Solomon, when he was examining the demons, okay, the Testament of Solomon, and we came across the verse where it spoke about the 7 female demons who said that they are the 33 elements of the ruler of darkness. All right, and so she is one of several goddesses who act as the eye of Ra. All right, so she is the opposite of the Holy Ghost. All right, so when you look on the top of that dollar bill that you got in your pocket and you see that eye sitting on top of it, it is the eye of Hathor. Okay? She was one of several goddesses who acted as the eye of Ra, Ra's feminine counterpart. All right, so she is the feminine side of Satan. And in this form, she had vengeful aspects that protected him from his enemies. And it says, and she represented music, dance, joy, love, sexuality, maternal care, and she acted as the consort of several male deities. So she was a hoe and the mother of their sons. Hey, no wonder y.s.a. cast all these things down. He made an open show of these people, and he showed that they had nothing. And they know when he is going to return this time again, that they got nothing coming because they just can't continue with this thing. So Hathor, or where we get whore from. All right, so when we say whore, we're really saying Hathor. All right, Hathor. All right, she is the whore. All right, and she acted as the consort of several male deities. All right, so she was getting her groove on. And the mother of their sons, that's a whore. That's Hathor. That's what many of you are following behind today. Spiritually, you're taking on the image of Hathor. This is all you're doing, right? With that braided hair, the eyeliner, all right? The showing your cleavage, pretending to be religious, but this is nothing but a whore. And it says here, these two aspects of the goddess exemplified the Egyptian connection or conception of femininity. All right, so they're saying the way to be feminine in Egypt is to what? Look at this, is to be a whore. Isn't that what we got today? Hathor cross boundaries between worlds, helping deceased souls in the transition to the afterlife. Hathor was often depicted as a cow, as you saw with Aaron. When they came down and made that golden calf, they were just making Hathor. They just set up an image of Hathor. That's what they were saying, that they'd rather go back to this, symbolizing her material and celestial aspects. Although her most common form was a woman wearing a headdress of a cow's horn and a sun disk, she could also be represented as a lioness, a cobra, or a sycamore tree. You see, that unworthy tree. All right. So this is why we see this over here in China. Right? It says China right here, and they got a picture of the golden calf. Right? Why do they have this set up if they're not Egyptian? Because there's never ever been something called Egyptian. There's never ever been anything called Buddhism. There's never been anything called Christianity. It's all Luciferianism. It's all the control of Lucifer. That's all this has ever been. Okay, so let's go to y.s.a, Italy, where the description of what happened there says another wicked city submerged underwater. This time it was not pirates that were wicked, but the hedonistic Romans that flocked to Baia, dubbed the Las Vegas of ancient Rome. Some 18 miles outside of Naples on the Mediterranean coast. Alas, as seems to happen with wicked cities, is saint. All right, so now they're making that connection between the wickedness that they do in these cities and the judgment of the Heavenly Father coming upon them at the time of Christ's death. Okay, and it says most likely due to the region's rather active volcanic activities, the 2,000-year-old remains. All right, so they're saying that this happened around the time of Christ. All right, so the 2,000-year-old remains are in superb condition, with many intact statues found together with homes and temples. Most of the sunken city lies at the depths of a fewer than 20 feet, and some of it even visible above water. Okay, so let's take a look at this city that sank around the time of Christ. Okay, so look at the idol worship, just like in America. So this is how you know America is going to go. All right, because America is filled with idols, like the Martin Luther King statue. That's an idol. All right, and so this is the wickedness that they did in these places. All right, so let's just take a look at some of the images. See that golden statue there? Okay. Now, like I said, this city was an Edomite city that sank. All right. So this is a white people here. So their city and their principality was cast down. And this is a so-called man that's looking like a woman. You see, this is like a woman's face. And you got the testicles down there. Same thing that they're doing today in America. Same thing. All right, so this is what they think that this city looked like. Right, and so when Christ died, all of this was cast down. He made an open show of all these things. Underwater Roman ruins. And see, there's a reason why they're not going to tell you that this all came down, because they killed Christ. Because they just prop these images up into your psyche again for you to begin to worship this stuff again. Trying to see what we can find here. I think that's going to be it. Now I just want to go here and look at Pompeii. Even though they date the events of Pompeii before Christ was born. But I just want y'all to take a look at his power. When the Most High wants something to get done, he's going to get it done. Y'all best believe that. All right? So I want you to look at some of these pictures of Pompeii. I mean, look at that body there that they found. All right, and I'm going to focus on these bodies here in a second. Let's just look at some of this stuff here. Because I think that, again, they're not going to tell us the truth because they don't want us to get right with God through these examples. And now look how deliciously these people were living, right? And these people here are Europeans. And they were living large in Pompeii. Look at that. Look at the faces here. All right, these are the same images that we just saw over there in Italy. Right? These are the same people. All right, it says a snapshot of ancient Rome life. All right, so they cast down multiple cities in Rome and they sank them underneath the sea, and they killed up these people with the volcanoes. I just want y'all to take a look at the images of the people that once lived in Pompeii and see not if you see these faces in America today. Look at this. See that? See, this is a celebration of Christmas here. You see here? The Bacchantes before the feast. See? So they celebrating Christmas and they were cast down. Let's see what happens. Let's take a look at these bodies in Pompeii. All right, because when the Most High do something, he doesn't need to hide the fact that he snuffed somebody out. He gonna show it to you. You know, just like when a lion makes his kill, it shows that it did it, okay? Now this is these people with the volcanic ash just snuffed them out in Pompeii. I mean, look at these bodies. When y.s.a come back this time, it's gonna be more bodies than these. This is just an example. mean, look at how these people were preserved. Look at all these bodies laying out here, man. Y'all want to go against the Christ in whom we confess? You see how they're trying to block all these images? Because it's horrific. Look at that. Men, women, and children. All snuffed out. Look at this little kid here in Pompeii. Look at that. So if the Romans were really for y.s.a, the Christ of it, the Israelites, then why are they keep getting jacked up? Look at that. I mean, there's dead people everywhere in this place. Just take a look at that. Look at this one that they found. It's like he's down there trying to pray. He's like in a so-called prayer position. It says, Pompeians flash heated to death, no time to suffocate. So the Most High didn't even give them time to suffocate them. He just did this. Y'all gonna keep playing? Y'all better stop playing. I mean, just take a look at that. Look at this little baby here. Look at that little child there. Look, this probably was a mother. See, mother and children. See, y'all not gonna escape just because you're a woman or you got a child. If you're going against the Most High, if you leaving that child wrong, the Most High gonna do it. He's gonna have it done. I mean, look at the faces of these people. I mean, just think about what this man was thinking when he got hit with this. Look at this man here. Bodies of victims weren't well preserved due to extreme heat. It seems like they're just going to repeat everything. And look at these people, man. Look at this. This is probably a woman. Says scientists unearthed these strange figures. When I learned the truth, I was stunned. You're going to be stunned again. Look at these people. Says bodies of two men unearthed in Pompeii. So they're not probably showing you everything that really happened out there. Look, horses. Look at the animals. I mean, animals, everything. Got caught in it. They got caught in the judgment. Look at that. All right, I'm gonna close with this one. This man holding this little child. See, an archaeologist is holding a plaster cast of a young child's body, which tragically perished during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. You keep on playing if you want to, but it's not going to be well for you.